All right, so I wanted to talk about pyrokinesis, and obviously we're talking about like true god powers. Pyrokinesis definitely found falls right in line, like a major power. So I kind of wanted to look up what we were talking about and how we define some figures, right? Obviously, lots of gods are linked with the power of fire. This is a Turic fire goddess here that we see on the screen, right? And what we hear about fire, just a quick search on the internet, fire obviously means movement or control movement of. And it is a psychic ability to control fire or to influence fire. And the thing about pyrokinesis is that they're always among the most powerful of the deities, right? Like fire is truly an intense entity. It is one of the five elements that makes up the world. This is in a different cosmology, but it is the illumination. It is judgment. It burns away evil. That's one component about hellfire that we're going to talk about, or fire that we're going to talk about, is that it does have a cleansing property. The most significant thing about fire, it seems to me, is really determining what kind of fire it is that we're talking about, because that's where fire gets different. If we know that you're up against someone who wills pyrokinesis, the first thing you really want to determine is what kind, like how hot and what kind. And there's so many levels to it, right? The thing about pyrokinesis as a power is there's not a lot you can do with it, right? You can't do a lot with it other than burn stuff up. So that's where fire, like you can't really make fire constructions. You can't really do a lot of things with fire other than burn stuff up. So that's typically where you see these powers are going to be related. Fire is the element of power. Fire never surrenders. It cannot burn through. It burns back, block its path, and it sends sparks to the air to begin a blaze anew somewhere else. Fire always finds a way, right? That's what the 411 on fire is, and it is seen in a lot of different ways. It is an element. This is elemental manipulation at the highest level, right? Fire. And we always want to figure out, like, how is it being manipulated, and view the techniques. Like, there's lots of different ways that people have looked at fire specifically, right? And tons of characters. Obviously, this is Ogun, who is from Yoruba beliefs, and he represents, right, burning fire, right? He worked with fire. He was creating weapons, right? This is a Turic goddess, and again, a goddess who was good, who represented fire as well. So there's lots of representations there, and then there's the type of fire that it is. Okay, this is where it gets important, because the thing with pyrokinesis is it matters how hot is the fire that we're talking about. What kind of fire are we ultimately talking about here? All right, let me get somewhere safe here. Just close this down. Okay, so when we're talking about fire powers, we're talking about how hot can it really get. So there's a couple of different types of fires that I wanted to talk about first. This is what really matters with fire. Fire is so diverse. Like, fire has been associated with the creation of the universe. So that's how important, like, the spark of Genesis is a very important flame. Okay, so with fire, it seems like it's the level that we're talking about that really matters with fire. First, you have what I'm going to deem like a kind of a lower level. Like, I would rank this young lady with Firestarter, right? Remember Charlie in Firestarter? She could wield firepower. And, she was able to shoot out some pretty powerful missiles. She was able to do some things like that. I think, who else I would put here? Carrie White, right? Carrie White also possessed pyrokinesis. She kind of could do the same thing. Was able to burn down, a couple of like some friends of hers, like, I believe, right? It's who she burnt up. So that was again some real power there, right? Okay, Carrie White power. So that's kind of one of the first levels. I would put like this dude, this X-Men dude here, Pyro. I would put him in that first level power. I don't think he can control he can control the flames, but he can't generate the flames. So you're definitely at that first. Like, even these two, Carrie and the young lady here, Firestarter girl, right? They could both. It seems like they could both generate fire as well. So this is pyrokinesis, and like this is the level. Like, we saw him burning people up, burning humans up, right? So that's a pretty hardcore level. Then I think you get to like the next level up is like, I'm gonna say, where is it at here? Where are you at here? JohnnyStorm level. Like, this is where, like, and I've seen JohnnyStorm get pretty deep as far as like when he went Nova, like JohnnyStorm can get it hot. So this is the next level of Firestarter here. And we will rank him as a pretty powerful dude. we would definitely say, I mean, even the previous ones that we talked to, like, none of these people I'm really trying to mess with, right? Like, I ain't really trying to mess with Pyro, Lamplighter, right? It's kind of the same thing. Controls fire was mine. This is from the boys. I'm not really trying to mess with them because you can only get burnt up messing with them, right? So that's that initial kind of power, but definitely very dangerous anyway. Like, you don't want it with any of the characters that we just looked at, right? Okay. Then we kind of move up a little bit, and this is where we get, like I said, we're at that JohnnyStorm level power next, right? And I think JohnnyStorm, man, you know what? Actually, I'm going to have to reverse this up. Because after that entry level of power, right, then I think we get into Dragon Fire, right? We're definitely at Dragon Fire. So this is where we start getting to, like, your Fafnir. Who else we got here in Dragons representing Dragon Fire? Right? Schmaug, right? I think that's definitely where we're at right now. Like, Dragon Fire is at next level up. So I'm going to go, you go from, like, Pyro, then you go to, like, Dragon, like Schmaug is at next level, the next level fire. I think somewhere in between there. Next, you get like a Akasha level fire because like she was burning people up. I don't know if her fire is better than Dragon Fire. All right, we weren't seeing her use it on that scale, but she's very powerful. She could burn someone up like that. Like her, like she was good. She's really, really good with her pyro ability. So I don't know. I still see her as above being like pyro level, but maybe pyro, Akasha, then dragon level, then like JohnnyStorm. Because I'm saying JohnnyStorm can go Nova, right? Like we've seen that get down, right? After JohnnyStorm level, then I say we're starting to get into like a demon level. I think now we're at like Hellboy level, right? Like, okay. So then there's Hellfire, right? Like, okay. There's Hellfire and there's Soulfire as well, right? So Ghost Rider commands Soulfire, which is a whole different kind of fire, right? Like, so, like your traditional demon, and like demons be wielding fire a lot, right? And like there's characters we haven't, okay. So there's your Firestorm. Now I'm putting Firestorm at that JohnnyStorm level. So right, so above Dragon level, then the JohnnyStorm level. That's where I'm putting Firestorm at, right? I'm also gonna say, yeah, because I gotta like, okay. That's the JohnnyStorm level, right? After the JohnnyStorm level, we're at the demon level. So this is gonna be like your Hellboy, right? This is where you're gonna be right here. This is gonna be your Hellboy. There's gonna be these kind of demons here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your fire demons, your Hellboy demons. You know, these guys will fire pretty well. Like, demons get down with fire. We know that. Like, demon fire is all about that, right? So they're down. Like, I'm sorry, unfortunately, demons get down with fire for some reason. They like it. And then you're getting into more, like, your cosmic beings, right? Like, these are more like cosmic beings. These Netters, right? These are Rishas. These are more your goddesses. These are more cosmic beings. And the cosmic beings... right, so you're getting a cosmic fire, and even on cosmic fire level, like, we gotta understand it, because a demon fire is different than, like, a divine fire, right? Like, because even with, like, divine fire, are we talking, like, okay, now with the sun god, we definitely say it's solar fire, right? Which is the highest burning, it's still the sun, it's the giver of life. So this is where that fire is, right? So are we talking about solar fire, or are we talking about, is it like a divine fire? I'm gonna have to think that any god who's wielding, it's got to be soul fire or solar fire. It's one of the two, right? Like in this Kemetic underworld figure, I would believe she's wielding soul fire, right? Like, but Ra, like the Eye of Ra, right? We'll go to the Eye of Ra. Let's look at one depiction here, right? This is Sekhmet, okay, and she wields soul fire. It's like that soul fire and solar fire are essentially the same thing under that belief. Like, so that solar deity power is absolutely insane, right? So which kind of fire are you dealing with? Because like we've seen even Ghost Rider could defeat water. Like that soul fire continued to burn. So with fire, with pyrokinesis, man, it's the sky's the limit, right? Another Canaanite goddess. She's gonna be wielding solar fire. Solar fire is real, right? Dragon fire we know about. The Spear of Ra. This is going to be again channeling solar fire, soul fire, right? Akasha. This is probably going to be more like a demonic type of fire, vampire, but true pyrokinesis, very powerful wielder with it, right? Carry White, same type of thing. Lamplighter, right? Like we see the level. This is like obviously a Vedic fire god. So again, this is more a connection with like the real power elements, right? So this is, you know, if it's a Vedic god, I'm gonna say this is probably more element, like fire as an element. So I guess that's one aspect. It's fire as an element, like probably what your cosmic beings are going to be wielding. Like a goddess of the underworld, right? They're definitely going to be in tune with fire. You can always see their depictions. So, you know, fire is going to get a lot of different beings, right? Like looking at, even if we go on through the list, Mike, like if you control fire, should you be able to take, all right, let's see here. Let's see who we got coming up, right? All right, a giant wolf. Like the Fenris wolf, you're going to be vulnerable to anyone with fire. You have fire. You can get burnt up, right? Like giants, definitely. Like any type of zombies, right, are going to be susceptible, right? I don't know that Godzilla is necessarily susceptible to someone with a fire ability, though, right? Maybe with solar fire, but like Hades is going to command some fire as well, so because of the underworld. Right, and even these Superman type of figures, can you get hot enough? Is soul fire hot enough to blaze up like a Hancock? Right, is that where it is? All these other deities, I think you're susceptible. You know, obviously, unless you're a fire deity, you're gonna show vulnerabilities to pyrokinesis. So, pyrokinesis, yeah, it's just one of the absolute beastly powers. Like you have to have really high levels of invulnerability, but even then, like there's got to be a level at which it burns up, right? If it's like Phoenix Force power, you know, that's the power of creation of the universe. That's very similar to like that soul power. It's cosmic energy, it's cosmic power, right? Obviously, fire demons, we know how they're gonna roll. That's gonna be pure hellfire, but you know, at some level, that fire gets to be too hot. Maybe JohnnyStorm's your level. This is cosmic power right here. This is one of the heralds of Galactus, right? Nova, whose power manifested itself as a cosmic flame. Like she bodies so many people. There's few things that can stand up to someone with true pyrokinesis. Like I talked about the hydrokinesis and how powerful it is, but hydrokinesis has like flexibility. It's water. It can do lots of things. Fire don't have that, man. Fire is a straight up ahead bullet, but it's associated with like, man, burning it down, man. Absolutely getting it done. So this is just a look at pyrokinesis. If you have more that you want to add, please do so in the comment section. I'm just kind of taking a deeper dive on how we look at various godlike powers or god abilities.